Okay, I'm back, and I had an excellent fitting. I'm going to have a nice powdery blue frock coat with some, I guess, rusty knickers with tights, a lot of frou-frou down the front, cuffs, a wig, beard'll have to go, no codpiece. We got to take what you can. Anyway, okay, we're back. Now, where I left you, we'd mixed together the batter. I put the batter in the fridge. It's de-elevated a tiny, it's gone a bit flat, not hugely, but a bit, because I put it in the fridge for an hour. But it's still going to be light and airy, so we're not going to get too worried about that. This next little bit is, I'm going to show you how to do one round, and then I'm going to come back when I've finished. I've got a number of 9-inch baking pans, and I cut out some parchment paper. I've cut out 8, so I'm going to have, because I want to do 8 of these. So as I've only got 3 of the 9-inch thingies, I'm just going to put those in the 3 that I have, and I've decided I'm going to put half a cup of batter into each one. Part of what is important with this recipe, I think, is precision. Precision is not my middle name, but I'm going to work very hard on making this as precise as possible so that the layers of the cake are exactly the same. So half a cup in each of these pans. What I'll do is put them in the oven. They're going to cook at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for between 6 and 8 minutes, until they're kind of golden, starting to maybe have a little blistering on the top. And then I'll rotate through until I've got 8. So when I come back to you, we'll have the 8 layers. I'll then move on to the chocolate buttercream, and we'll start putting things together. So I hope that gives us a clear plan of attack. I'm just going to do one demo here. So for the three pans I have here, I'm going to put I'm going to definitely need a small spatula for this. I'm going to put in, as I say, half a cup in each one. And there is you've got to be precise, Tim. There's another one there. Goody goody, yum yum bubbly gum. And then another one here. I might actually be able to make more than 8 layers. You'll have to come back and see exactly how many do. I think traditionally this is an 8 or 9 layer cake, and it's interesting. I was telling you earlier about how there are regional versions of this all over the world. The one in Indonesia, okay, smushy time, I'm leveling this out. The one in Indonesia, well, I don't know is this going to be all right? Maybe, yeah, I think it should be all right. Okay, so what I'm doing is just trying to make the layer as even as possible, so that the final cake will look as precise and divine as possible. This is definitely going to be one of those cakes where I have to show you a cut into the cake so you can see how beautiful it's going to be. Really lovely. I didn't finish telling you that the Indonesian one, I think, has 12 or 13 layers, so really is quite a high stacked cake. And let's get these other ones done, trying to get it as level as possible, but you're talking about at the most 1/4 of an inch here, so it's hard to get incredibly consistent with 1/4 of an inch, but I'm doing my damnedest. I'm doing it for Dobos, the king of the 19th century. What is that? I think that's a dollop of butter. Didn't get mixed in very well. Okay, and here we go. Yum yum. And yeah, as I say, these will go in the oven for 6 to 8 minutes, and I will do it until all the batter is cooked and when you come back I will have all of that done, and we'll start on the buttercream recipe, and we can probably then go straight from that into building, which will be exciting. Okay, and I'm back. I got piles of, in the end I made 8 of the cakey middle bits. I'm surprised they weren't quite as puffy as I'd hoped. That might have, in fact that was probably because I let them sit a little bit in the fridge before cooking them. They'll still be tasty, they're just not quite as elevated as I would have liked. Never mind. What I've got going on, I'm starting on the the chocolate buttercream now. So what I've got in here is, in fact I'm going to turn it back on. I've got a cup of sugar and a quarter of a cup of water, and I am letting that get up to 240 degrees on my candy thermometer. Whilst that's getting there, in my little KitchenAid, I am going to put 2 eggs, and I'm going to put 1 extra yolk. So let me bring that over. Here we go. And there is the 2 eggs. Whoopsie. Lots of eggs in this one, hey? I guess it's a good dozen. There's 1, 2, and then a yolk. I will just put that straight into the compost because chances are I'm not going to be making a meringue out of 1 egg white today. So that's going to go over here. I'm going to whip those up with the KitchenAid and get that going. Then I am going... Poo! Okay, so this is take 2. The cake layers are out of the oven. I've got 8 of those going. Here in the pot I've got a cup of sugar with a quarter of water bubbling away nicely. Got to keep my eye on this because the last time I actually overboiled it and it started to caramelize. I'm trying to get it up to 240 degrees centigrade. Don't stir it, just let it do its own thing, and as soon as it gets to 240 you are good to go. This is going to go towards the chocolate butternut cream, which is what we're working on. As the base for that, don't let me forget that, I've got 2 eggs and 1 yolk in the KitchenAid, and I am going to get those going. Get them nice and whisked up. I'm keeping a close eye on the naughty sugar. I don't want this to happen again. I don't want disaster in the kitchen. Yeah, you're always going to have issues, but it's a real drag when you have to completely restart something, which is what I had to do. So I'm just climbing over 200, and what I will do is, as soon as it gets to 200, I am going to pour that very slowly into the eggs, and then on top of that, I'm getting close. I'm getting close. Don't get distracted. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. I don't want to go too far. And that looks fully dissolved. And we will get that. I'm going to turn the KitchenAid down a little bit. Okay. Still going. As it's mixing, I'm going to pour in very gently the hot sugar. Oh, now that's more like it, Uncle Crofton. Now you're talking my kind of language. Looking very... Sorry you can't see closer. It's the challenge of being a one-man show. I'm the cameraman, I'm the cook, and I can't do both those things at once. But ultimately all I'm doing is just pouring the hot sugar solution into the egg mix. Next in is a pound of butter, a pound. And I'm going to whiz that around as I'm just going to plop it in chunks into the butter cream mixture. I mean, it can't be a buttercream icing, can it, without a bit of butter? So a pound sounds like it should do. So this obviously is still quite hot, and so the chunks of butter will melt as they go in. I think I might make it a little bit faster. Looking good, looking good. Nice, that's half of it. Ooh la la. Lovely. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably doing a tablespoon at a time. A stick of butter, as we know, is 8 tablespoons. So that works out. Yeah, it's looking good. I've got 12 ounces of, good quality Ghirardelli chocolate that I am melting. I know I'm a bad boy, but I am melting it. I'm not melting it over a water bath. I always used to do that and found that I could get just the same results if I bunged it in the microwave. Now, I might be breaking every culinary rule in the book. Please tell me why I'm a bad boy, and then I will go back to doing it in a in a water bath. But hopefully, I'm not going to do an online demonstration of why not to do it in the microwave. But really, truly, it's not been an issue for me. Oh, look at you sexy wee baby! Oh, if you can only see over here, it is just gorgeous. Just have a little bit of a stir midway through the melting process. Again, I know I'm a Philistine. I am here to cook dishes from around the world, not to teach you how to be a cordon bleu chef. But this is really looking special. Oh la la. I'm impressing myself. And here we go, give this another twiddle. Looking good, Billy Ray. Looking good. I'll give it one more session. And we should be good to go there. Okay, let me have a look over here. What else do I know? Oh, and I'm adding rum too. So I'll put a tablespoon of rum in, I think. Here's me rum bar. I'll put that in. A bit more. One for the chef, as they say, or the cook. That's that. And I think that looks fantastic. You see? And again, what did I do wrong, really? I mean, tell me, has it reconstituted the chocolate in a way that's unacceptable? I don't know, looks good to me. So I'm going to pour this now into my butter and let that turn into what will be, without question, the most divine chocolate rum butter cream. Oh, Jemima, look at your Uncle Jim. He's in the duck pond learning how to swim. First he does the breaststroke, then he does the stride. Oh, the smell with the rum baba. Oh, gosh. Oh, why don't we live in a world that centres around simply making food, and that as a chef or as a cook, you are held in the same regard as someone who makes large amounts of money doing, I don't know, dim-ass things. I'm sure it would be a much happier world we lived in. I've got some sort of theory going on there, I don't really know what it is. Okay, that's that. Okay, so I'm going to leave the caramel topping and I'm going to get into assembling this little baby. I think you're done. And I think you're going to be divine. So, let's get that out. Give that a bit of a beating so we get all of the tastiness. What you're going to want to remember here is you're going to layer the cake. Let me get a good layering thingy with the buttercream. But you are also, you're going to cover the whole thing when it's finished with the buttercream too. So here are my little cakey babies. I'm going to bring this over here so we can see a bit better. Quite, as I say, they're not all that puffed up. But I'm going to put the first one. Ah! Sorry, I make lots of noise. I beg your parsnips. Let's get this first one looking good. Move it, move it. Oh, it's a little bit on the sticky side. Gosh. Okay, that'll have to do. And I am going to, so that's the first one. And I'm going to slather that in about, I'm guessing I'm putting about a tablespoon here. The important thing as you're building the height of your cake is to make sure that it maintains a certain structural evenness. And hopefully I'm going to be able to do that. How do we do it? Ooh. There we go. And plopper. Plopper is a technical term for, oh gosh, okay, there we go. Let's put another, about a tablespoon, maybe a bit more. Try and keep it even, and try and keep it sandwiched all nice and evenly over, like that. Okay, there we go. Next up, actually I'm surprised this is probably, you know, the main construction isn't going to take that long. I'm hoping. There you go, that's layer 3. And because there is so much butter in the actual batter, it is, it comes away from the parchment paper very easily. Not super happy yet with the height of my cake here. It's looking a tiddly-widdly bit on the flatty-watty side. Again, because that bloody costume fitting, I think, is to blame. It reminds me of a bit of that gorgeous cake. I didn't make a YouTube for it, but if you look on the website, there is, oh sorry, on the blog, the recipe I did for Chile was similar in structure, not in taste at all. This is super sonically rich, and I know will be divine. And the Chilean one was great, but it was layer upon layer of what was almost like a, I think almost like a tortilla, a sweet tortilla. It was phenomenal, but I'm definitely being reminded of that as we layer up this little puppy. Yes. Note to self, don't have a costume fitting when making this cake. because you don't get the height, but what it lacks in height, I'm sure, will be divine in taste. There we go. Getting close to the end now. Woo! What happened there? Had a floppy layer. Can't have a floppy layer, that's no good. There we go. And plopsa-daisy. More technical language. Okay. And another dollop. Oh, Kira, I hope I am not totally shaming the cuisine of Hungary. I know where I've gone wrong. Please feel free to critique me. It's all in the size of the cake bits. This is a slightly dodgy one that I did, so I'm not going to make this my top layer, because then everybody will get to see it. If I put it as my second to top layer, then it'll be hidden. And what the eye don't see, the jolly old heart don't yearn for. Okay, there we go. Although, you know, you can't really tell that's dodgy. Can't tell that dodgy. Okay, there's a bit more. Now, I think the intention was that there was going to be a lot more side to ice with this. But because it doesn't quite have the height I had hoped for, I'm not going to need lots of extra buttercream. There we go. That's okay, come on. It's my first time. Not bad for a first outing. Still, there's still stuff to do. I'm going to put the top layer on the cake, and then let me have a look. Oh, okay, it's suggesting that I pipe the cream. I don't think so. I'm going to do this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into the fridge for a bit to let it cool down, and then I will come back to put on the caramel glaze, which is the final crowning glory. There we go. I'm going to just do around the sides. La-di-do. Bear with me, I'm nearly done. Nearly done. Oh, I don't know, I think that's looking vaguely respectable, isn't it? Not bad. Let's give that a little smearage. Okay. There's the little, what's it called again? It's called a Dobos torte. Torte. I'm going to, as I say, chill it, and then I will come back. Oh, get your angle right, sunshine. There you go. I'll come back to show you about the final glaze. And we're back. It's the final countdown. So, when I last saw you, I put the Dobos into the fridge and it's chilling. I did do a little, I reread the recipe, and rather than putting a caramel glaze, what it said was to, I made a little circular caramel thingy. It was 6 ounces of sugar, which I warmed up until it, you know, turned nice and brown. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up and put it as decoration on the top of the Dobos. That seems to be the classic way to do it. So here's hoping that I can cut this without it completely splintering like this. Oh, no, there you go, it's completely splintering. So I think I'm going to rethink how I do this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to break it up into little bits and decorate the top with it, rather than, I think the idea was to put, you know, like evenly shaped sort of triangular shapes. So I'll come up with something pretty. Now here's the scoop. I will take a picture of this and put it on Facebook right away, and then everything that I have filmed here I'm going to send off to Dick and Alison, and poor things will get to edit it, and then that I will let you know when that is up on justdesserts.food.blog. Oh, my head was out, that's no good. Justdesserts.food.blog. Justdesserts.food.blog. Please, Smellies, I need you to come and visit and follow. We need to get our audience numbers going. If you don't mind, it would be a huge flavour. Okay, so I'm just finishing up. Here we go. I'm getting the cake out of the fridge, or the torte. Hopefully it looks. Oh, it looks very respectable. I think it looks quite pretty. There it is. Look at that. And I am going to do something. I'm not quite sure what it is. Oh, there you go. I can make some little, maybe some little saily bits like this. There's one. It'll be a sort of postmodernist Dobos. A sense of angst in and chaos in our modern world is depicted in this beautiful wee cakey. Oh gosh, I'm getting very artistic. Clever me. I know this is probably sending every Hungarian who is watching into convulsions. I'm so sorry, but it'll be a Dobos reinvented. Oh, I actually quite like my slightly chaotic look. It's got a, yeah, it's got its own little personality. Don't worry, I'll finish it and then I'll bring it over, the camera over, so you can have a good look. It's actually worked out better than I thought it was going to. A bit there, I was getting unhappy about the height of it. Next time it'll be higher, but in the meantime, I think that's a pretty spiffing looking cakey. I'll see if I can do it that way. There it is. And that is a Dobos. That brings to an end the H's, and we're heading into Iceland. The I's. We've got Iceland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Italy, and the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire.